Morning, everybody. Yes, that's Sunday. Oh, Sunday. Come on out of bed. Let's get going. Christmas do went very good. I went to Leeds, as I say I was going. I popped into the Witherspoons pub at the train station with quite a few work colleagues before we went on for the meal and more drinking. Well, I'm not a drinker. Anyway, I feel a bit rude here because I was in the Witherspoons pub and I had quite a few double vodka and cokes, so a little bit merry for an old codger like me that don't drink. And on the way back from the gents' toilet, a bloke looked at me and introduced himself and asked if I was Brian. I said yes. He stood up, shook my hand, and said he listens to my videos and he likes what I do. We had a photo taken together, and I said, if you give him your name, sir, after he told me, I would mention you on my next video. But being a pisshead that day, I forgot your name. Sorry, mate. I do apologise. You know what I'm talking about. And my heart goes out, and I really, truly do apologise. It's no good me remembering things when I've had too many bevies inside me. So, anyway, it was nice to meet you. I'm so happy and glad that I have a friend in you and you watch my videos. So look after yourself. Have a nice Christmas, mate. Get in contact. I'll do another one and mention your name next time. So, as I say, apologise. Someone asked me a question. I'll answer a few questions first. Now, they said to me, the money I make, does it go to Georgie? Right. So, Georgie don't want to know us, okay, nor does Donna. Now, I've been on Donna's profile. I've seen Georgie. She's a small, petite, beautiful girl. Has children now. Donna's aged, as we all do, and put a bit of weight on. And her mother's aged even more and put a bit of weight on. She lost her father. So, Georgie don't want to know us. And the reason why, I'll explain this. When it all come on top, and Donna had the affair, whatever you want to call it, you lot, with the officer, we all jumped on the bandwagon and called her. We all did. I'm not going to put my hands up. We all slagged her off for it. So she turned around and said, well, fuck you lot. You're not going to see Georgie. And I don't blame you, Donna. Get on with your life. And I wish Georgie all the best. She seems very happy. But no, they will not speak to us. They'll not speak to my brother, my sister, and especially won't speak to my mother. Okay, Donna still has a form of police contact. So any aggravation and you get a knock on the front door. Fair enough. But I did go through Donna's profile a bit, pictures and that. Looked at Georgie and the grandchild. I never see Alex, so I don't know what's ever happened to Donna's lad. He'd be grown up now. He's probably got a family of his own, enjoying himself. But just wonder what happened to him, Donna. Anyway, that's the reason why Georgie won't take. If I made 100 grand, she wouldn't take it off me. She has no intention of speaking, communicating, or being friends with any of us lot. So that's that question asked. Money. Have I made money? No, not really. I got money from my book. The book's doing very well, and it paid off when I sold my car to finance the book. So yeah, I've probably made a few quid. I'm not rich. I don't say I'm rich. It isn't about money. It's about speaking our lives, Craig's. Now, some people say all you're doing is slagging him off. It's not slagging him off. You want the truth about how he is and why he turned out the way he is. So I can only tell you. Now, people say, I hated him and he hated me. He did hate me. He fucking despised me at the end. I didn't hate him. I still loved him. When he put the gun to my face, I hated him then. And I made the phone call. I stick my hands up. But you never lose your love for your family, no matter how much you hate them. I mean, like my mother, I despise her because none of us kids have ever asked for any of this. We weren't brought into this world to be arseholes, thieves, liars, bullies, whatever you want to call us. We wasn't brought into this life, and we was brought into life to carry on our family name. You know what I mean? But it didn't work that way. So I'm going to tell you a story about Craig and why I believe he lost it to the extent. I know the drugs helped and Tony and that helped him along the way, and I did with the pills, but I'm going to tell you the start of it all. Right, we went to boarding school. I was fucked off by social services and mother. I was a handful, she said. I was a little bee that no one wanted. Okay, she had her way. She put me up there. Craig went to boarding school. He got expelled, as you know, for stabbing a bit of a big lad, for bullying him. So Craig come back home, and I think he went to basketball school and finished the rest of his school years off there. Now, he was a quiet lad, skinny. He got involved with a few gangs, like in those days, different schools used to fight different schools. Langdon used to fight Basildon, and Basildon used to fight Pitsea. We all know that. So basketball school was at Long Riding, and I believe he was there, finished his term off, and got in with the after-school punch-ups. So he knew how to handle himself. But our mum, okay, she met a chap called George. Now, George used to be an ex-doorman. I can't remember if he was still doing the doors when he was with mum, I'm not sure. Lovely bloke, 6 foot, quite stocky, longish hair, fantastic bloke. Well, Craig looked up to him as a father figure, not knowing his real dad. So George used to see Craig come home sometimes with a bit of bruise on his face through fighting, tried to explain to him that's not the way to go, and if you are going to go that way, you need to defend yourself. Get that word out now. So George used to take Craig boxing and judo. So he knew how, if it got too bad, he could defend himself properly, look after himself. So he did. So George used to go with him. George used to train, and Craig used to train with the kids and work the way up the ladder. And he was good. He put a little bit of weight. He was still a skinny lad, but he wasn't scared of no one. He got to that stage. Like I say, he fought the world of George. I'm not going to give his last name because his family's out there, and as the story goes on, you'll understand why I'm not giving his last name. The affair, they never got married, I believe, Mum and George. Remember, I wasn't around at this time. I just know this story. I was the end of it rather than the start of it, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, George was a lovely bloke. He took Craig on as his own. He took Mum on as the woman he loved. You know what I mean? He went to work every day. He'd come home and he'd sit there like an husband would, help with the housework, take the dogs for a walk, make sure Craig was in the right place. You and me, if he wanted to go somewhere, George would take him. Well, after about, I think 4 or 5 years, our dear mother decided that George wasn't to be no more and started to have an affair with a lad called Gary. Now, I'm not going to give his last name because Gary owned a scrapyard. So he had a Rolls Royce, and my mum used to drive the Rolls Royce after a period of time without a driving licence. I think we've all done it. I put my hands up. I used to drive cars before I was entitled to a driving licence. So yeah, she met Gary. Gary moved in. There is someone come on here, I remember a while ago, and said that he brought some weights off my mum's boyfriend, Gary. He probably still out there, so he's listening. He'll clarify this. Yeah, so George moved out. He went for a bad stage of depression because he lost the woman he loved, you know what I mean? It affected Craig because there was a new bloke in his life, even though Craig was, coming on 15, 16, there was a new bloke in his life, and he wasn't happy. But you had to accept Mum's way of life, and, she preferred men rather than she preferred her kids. So, yeah, she met this bloke called Gary. He seemed a nice chap, you know what I mean? His heart was in the right place. But Craig was more concerned about George going through this stage of suicidal, I suppose. He was down. Now, he had a sister that lived in Basildon. I think she lived up Whitmore Way, if I remember rightly. Well, George was getting bad. He kept coming around the house and begging to come back. He didn't never threatened Gary to beat him up or anything. He never threatened my mother. He never laid a finger on my mother. He just got to that stage where he was round more or less every other day begging, crying his eyes out. A fully grown man to ask what went wrong, what he done wrong, you know what I mean? How much he loved her. But she wouldn't have it. She wanted a younger man, one with a bit of money. We know Gary had money with his scrapyard and his posh cars. Like I say, Gary was a lovely bloke. I got on well with him. So George was going for a very, very bad stage. He had some relations that lived in Land's End. I think it's Land's End, right down past Exeter that way, right at the far point. So our mother asked Craig and me if we would take George to Land's End, because he was in that state, and she was a bit concerned that he might try and kill himself while driving. So we took him to Land's End. I think it was his part of his family that owned a hotel there. So we went there anyway. We stayed for the weekend in the hotel, and we left George there. And he seemed in a better place, you know, new environment, family around him. Whether he just put a front on, I don't know. So me and Craig left. We come home. I drove home. About 5-6 months later, George come back to Basildon. He got in contact with Craig. Craig was over the moon. He thought, you know, George had got over his depression, his love for mother, I suppose, whatever you want to say, and come back and get on with his own life. And Craig could see him. You know what I mean? Now, in Basildon, some people remember this, there used to be a block of flats near the cinema. I think there used to be some stairs going down towards the cinema. I think there used to be a post office at the bottom. I'm not sure. There's a big block of flats in the middle of Basildon, you know, the town centre. So George got a flat there from the council, right at the top. He went back to work. He was doing well. He had Craig go and see him twice a week. You know what I mean? See how he was getting on. So the communication, the love, the friendship was still there. And George did seem in a better place. So I popped round to see George one day with Craig, and he did. He seemed all right. Then out of the blue, something clicked. No idea whether he see a photo, whether he see mum out with a new fellow. I don't know, but something clicked, and he went back to that stage of depression. He was admitted in hospital for a bit on the psychiatric ward, I believe. I don't know if it was ramped. No, I can't remember the name of the hospital we went to, be honest with you. Well, he was sectioned for a bit too, because he was in a bad way. He was released. He went back to his flat. He didn't lose his flat, and he went back to the same way again. He was just a different person again. He seemed happy, and we tried to set him up with other women. To be honest with you, we, you know, friends and mothers and girlfriends, mums, but he wasn't interested. He only had eyes for Lorraine. What he see in our mother, I have no fucking idea. And I'm not being horrible, that's the truth. You know what I mean? You know, a dartboard has a lot of pricks in it. That's had a lot of pricks in it. So, yeah, I don't know what he's seeing her. So it must have been about 3 or 4 weeks later. Craig was at home. Police come round to see mother. I don't know why they come round to our house, whether they found a letter or a bit of paper. I don't know. I don't know the full story to that side of it. And George got onto the roof of the flats and jumped and committed suicide and died. Now, like I say, it's out there if people want to research it. So his sister never spoke to any of us again, which I don't blame her. I don't think she knew how bad George was. But that affected Craig in a big, big way. You could see the other side to him. He still loved his mum. It was his mum. He never got to know his dad. You know what I mean? So he only had his mum and me at first. Sharon had her own life. Michael was in a fucking cuckoo land, even though Craig fought a lot of Michael, because he was the quiet one of the family. And Michael fought a lot of Craig. When Craig passed away, it affected Michael bad. I'm not going to put my brother down. We've had our spat, we don't talk, and that's probably the best way in life. You know, my son won't lose out by not seeing these children. My son's got no interest. Same as my sister's children. But it all goes round in a circle, end of the day. You think you find happiness, and you think you're going to be happy for the rest of your life. But that one person that holds that key to your heart, to the door, wherever, can destroy you. So by destroying George, she destroyed Craig. And it wasn't long after that when Craig had his really first stupidity of whacking a police officer when his mate Strand got arrested. So you could tell he was changing into, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'll hurt who I hurt. Yeah, I'm saying this because I'm going to tell you something else. There used to be a nightclub on the industrial site. I can't remember. It's not far from Full Tractor Plant. There was some shops and a nightclub upstairs. Now, near the yogurt factory. I'll tell you a story about that one day. We was all in there. Me, Michael, Craig, Stratton, Gary Pitchley. In there drinking. And like I say, Michael's a very quiet lad. He used to see a lass called Sonia. So we didn't have a drink, have a laugh, might have a few drinks, had a few, had pop, you know, get going, disco going, have a laugh, drunk. Then Michael accused me of taking a ring out of his house that belonged to Sonia. I knew nothing about this ring. So he said, you've been in the house with Stratton, you've took Sonia's ring. Well, it works out Stratton took Sonia's ring, okay? So he had a go at me, thinking I took the ring because I was a thief. I'm going to put my hands up, you know what I mean? But it wasn't me that took the ring. So he smacked me in the nightclub and I smacked him. I had the better of him anyway. So we got slung out by Smut. We went outside and the fight continued. I got on top of Michael and I thought, I don't want to hit you. Stop it. And Mike was going mad like a baby, swinging arms but not affecting anyone. And then Craig walked over and I looked up at Craig, you know, to have a word with him, tell him to calm down. And he booted me with fucking all the force in his foot right in the face. And I just sort of got up, wobbled back and fell back onto the car. And then Craig walked off with Michael. So he loved his brother to do that. But he loved me. And maybe he thought Michael was younger and I was had the more advantage of him with a little bit of experience of looking after me. I wasn't a fighter, but I could look after myself. So yeah, I got a big boot in the face for that. We never fell out. We put it down to drink and stupidity. But what I'm saying is that's the way Craig started going when he lost someone that he loved, he looked up to. You know, it was George that got Craig his first job at Busden Tyres because George knew someone who worked there. And he used to take Craig to work every day. So it was a big loss for Craig, losing George and losing him the way he did. You know, we all thought we was helping George by going to see him, talking to him, trying to explain to him that our mother wasn't worth the pain he was going through. But I don't know, something clicked in him. And it breaks your heart sometimes because you look back at our mother, it's no good me putting her down. She's fucking got skin like a rhino, mate. She just laughs it off. But we come into this world, like I say, to follow the name, my father's name, my mother's name, get jobs, get married, get kids, like any normal people. But from day one, our mother tried to destroy us. Oh, no. I was 5.5. My dad was killed by mum's lover. Craig was born in Holloway. When she came out of Holloway, she met a bloke called Ken. another bodybuilder. She must have been a fucking bodybuilder. Surprised she never got off with Colton. So Ken used to beat us up. Worst thing he used to do when we sit at the dining table, we put our elbows on the table eating. He used to whack across the hands with a knife. But he fell in love with Mum's best friend and fucked off. So it fucked her up in a day. She had no one. But that's the way she was. Like I say, I mean, she even slept with someone. This sounds bad, and people are going to say, "Why are you saying it?" She even slept with someone I knew, okay, because he was a plasterer, and she wanted her kitchen plastered. That's what she was like. So there's no love lost. I've given my mum many a chances to try and remend our relationship, like the wedding. They come, we paid for everything, and they stole the fags out of the taxi. So there's no love there. We went for a meal once, all of us, all the family. We all put some money into the pot to pay for the meal. And her lover Paul nicked some of the money, then denied he nicked it. There's no love lost between any of us. I have my family that I give my right arm for. You know, someone that's really stood by me from what I've been through. And I have a beautiful son and a beautiful daughter and 2 beautiful grandchildren. And my son works with me. So me, I can't let my family down. And I won't let my family down. But yeah, I'll tell you some more stories in the week. But that's how I feel that Craig went off the rails. That, and plus he lost his mate over a one-punch fight over a car, and he smacked his head in the curb and died. So, you know, two close people he lost in a matter of years. But mainly George. He used to go fishing together, everything. That's how Craig got into fishing. George to take him. And I think because he lost George, who he looked up to as that father figure, and he loved him. You know what I mean? If he had a problem, he'd see George. He wouldn't go and see Mother. And then to have someone that we thought we knew. Both sides, we thought we knew our mother. But most of all, we thought we knew George. We thought he was in a safe place. But he wasn't. He jumped off those flats and died. So I know his sister's probably out there, and if she's still alive, and probably she'd be still alive, and probably saying, well, why you mention this, Brian? I feel that I have to, because Craig was never any form of trouble, was never a problem until he lost George. And then he just went off the rails. And with the help from me further along life with the pills and this lot, and then meeting Tony, then really got off the fucking rails, and then the police involved in this lot. He just sent him cuckoo. Okay. What can you say? Anyway, look, send me some more questions and I'll try and answer them. I'll do my best. But in the week, I'll tell you another story about us. Yeah, but it's a killer, that, when you talk about the story. To actually know, if you knew the bloke, it'd break your heart. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Anyway, bye everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later. And I do apologise to the bloke in the pub. I didn't even stay for the meal. You know what I mean? I had 8 double vodka and Cokes, a Guinness, and I was legless. I had to leave the meal. And it was a bit rude, but I did say to one, well, I had to meet my wife anyway, but she come up to Leeds to meet me with shopping. But bloody hell did I couldn't handle a drink. I won't be doing that very fast again. Anyway, bye.